Tonight, let's go and take a look at President Trump, Donald Trump, who in his second term of office has brought several prominent South Africans to the table of his administrative priorities for the U.S., for his international dealings and development in general. And part of the clamor from his ultra, uber wealthy South African cabinet, South African supporters who were by his side as he promoted his candidacy and then to his, well, now it's 6 months so far sitting in the office, a second term, is turning his attention on to South Africa. Excuse me, 4 months. Well, I thought he came in February. I thought he came in, whatever. It's been like one of those days. I'm just there going, it's going to be June in a couple months, 6 months. I could swear that he did some things right away in January, but this whole week has been a blur. Last week has been a blur. He's been there for a while, right? He came in and he started implementing big changes right away. However, from his last term, Trump didn't really have that much of a focus on South Africa, not like he does right now. And of course, as I mentioned, he also has all those wealthy South Africans all behind him. Or at least behind him enough for him to get elected, for them to be flirting with the positions of government. Hello, Monica. And for them to secure, I'm sure, very nice deals to go and continue their business. Well, even that AI, right? All that money put towards AI when he could have put it into other infrastructure. But that's beside the point. Hello, Lucas, and hello, Kinga. So, yes, hello, everybody. I want to take a closer look because with the visit of South African President Ramaphosa, he brought along 3 people with him, 2 well-known golfers and the owner of Richemont, which is kind of funny. That luxury goods holding company. They manage Louis Vuitton, they manage Chloe, they manage Tiffany. I don't think they do Cartier, but they might. They do Bulgari. They do a whole bunch of those fancy watch companies as well. Anyway, the guy has pretty much half of the luxury goods market. I forgot the guy's name, but he owns them. You can look up Richemont. And it's just ironic that he goes, and also too, the owner of Richemont. I don't know if you guys have been aware of that holding company's history. I mean, first of all, do look into all the brands that are under them, just like Procter and Gamble has their own holding companies. I mean, their own subsidiaries, everything from like Dawn to probably it's Dawn. I think they also have Purina and Procter and Gamble. But anyway, all these holding companies have other, all our major brands underneath of it, right? And it's the same thing with Richemont. A good portion of what we recognize as name brand luxury Do they have Hermes? I'm not sure. But anyway, they have a good portion of, they have a lion's share of the luxury goods market. And that company initially got started through a European family that went to South Africa, and they basically got into the diamond mines and tobacco, I believe. Very, very wealthy, still very, very wealthy. Anyway, and that apparently is Trump's golfing partner. So, yeah, good friends that the South African president Ramaphosa brought over. And Trump's whole main reason for organizing it was to go and to highlight the issue of white genocide, which is a curious choice of words. I do think it's very curious, especially considering what's going on in Palestine, and also to prepping Gaza to be this fantastic beach resort. So he's highlighting the genocide of the white farmers, which initially, well, there's a contentious history there as well, right? How they got the land, how they worked the land, and also how they are keeping the land. It has been something that's been spoken about and reported on for a number of years now. However, how that land was acquired still was how it was acquired, and how they're getting it back is how they're getting it back. Also interesting that during Ramaphosa's talks, Ramaphosa was very, very diplomatic. And Trump well, did you see those photos of Trump too, sitting almost like in a frog-like position, and then he's doing the whole triangle thing, the whole Illuminati thing? If you looked at Franz Spitzmeyer's, what is it, Signs of the Illuminati? Not saying, but I'm just saying there are like a whole bunch of these hand gestures. It's also interesting that he just so naturally his hands gravitate towards those type of movements. It's interesting, especially as he has a Rolodex of contacts and friends of the most wealthiest and powerful businesses and corporations in the world. Well, openly. Anyway, so Trump was showing off photos of dead people as part of his, I guess, his lobby of the white genocide. And I just wanted to go and take a closer look at Trump and his dealings with South Africa. What is behind it? Especially Trump being the businessman that he is and making connections that he does. Let's take a closer look at this white genocide of South Africa and Trump with this very contentious words of and display of race baiting, especially considering his ties with wealthy South African whites, Europeans. So let's go and see. Trump and the white genocide in South Africa. Termed by Trump. So Trump has the Ace of Wands. This is a new action item for Trump also too. It feels like something that he has to go and give high priority to. He's also, I'm going to say, with that Two of Wands, and they're invested in doing so. This is a close matter, I would say, matter to the heart, to the people that are around him. This is probably also to the people who have made the white, or the treatment of how white South Africans are treated. This is probably a pet project for them. If I'm not using the word correctly, I apologize, but something that they believe in very strongly, something that they planned on very strongly. Also, to how to go and gain more power or more stability in South Africa than how they feel right now. Also, let me go and say, with that King of Pentacles energy, Two of Pentacles, Fool, and Ace of Wands, I would say that the wealthy, I do call this wealthy, the wealthy white South Africans that have been pushing for this initiative to take action, these people, and this is odd energy to me, these people have realized that money only gets you so far. Isn't that interesting? You can't buy everyone off with money. You can't buy security with money. You can't buy stability with money. Money only goes so far. Money only goes right to the wallet, but it doesn't go to the heart. It doesn't go and cross the threshold to real change inside of people's homes, the mentality. And I would say that's number one, what probably why the people surrounding Trump, the wealthy South Africans, wealthy white South Africans surrounding Trump, they realize there's a limit to how much money can go and buy. So they're going through other means. So their money can't go and affect what they want directly, for the security they want, for the stability they want, for the further growth and expansion they want. I will say too, in terms of the white genocide, whatever power and position, whatever acquisition they have, they want to not only keep it, but maintain it and grow it and expand it. So I'm also going to say, with the whole idea of white genocide, I do believe, I haven't done, like the last time I did research on this was quite a while ago. Like before this ever became an issue, I actually came across the whole idea of the white South African farmers being killed was through the history of that African barbel. Am I saying it right? That there's a farm dog, which actually I began noticing the farm dog because Patti LaBelle has 2 or 3 of them at the time. I think it's spelled something like this. And they're the South Africans' version of their farm dog, a Borba. Is that how you say it? They're like brown cattle dogs, and they're used by a lot of farms. And then, as I said, the great African American singer Patti LaBelle has 2. I think she has 2. She had 2 at some point. And that's how I got into them, or I noticed them. Anyway, enough about dogs. Yeah, I will say that they not only want to go and keep whatever high positions that they have, whatever assets they have, they want to expand upon them. And I think also, too, in this energy, let me go and say, the white South Africans in South Africa, they very much don't want to become second-class citizens. They want to remain on top. They want to remain floating on top, like the way oil drifts to the top of the glass in water. It's very important for them that they maintain being above it all as high as they can be, maintaining their assets and continuing their assets. That's the first energy I have here. And so Trump's, this Ace of Wands is Trump's dedication to making sure that happens. I have 2 cards in here. I wonder if the Ace of Pentacles was under there all the time. I'm not sure now. But it doesn't matter, as we already have Ace of Ace of Wands, and with the Fool and those other cards there, it pretty much bespeaks of the same thing. So Ten of Swords dropped out. I was going to go and pull on the issue of white genocide. Okay. I'm going to pull one more on that since that just fell out. Well, Ten of Swords, Page of Pentacles, bottom of the deck energy, Page of Swords. Of course, everybody reads their bottom of deck energies in different ways. And for me, it's simply a continuation of the energy that we have here. And what I'm going to say, what we have here is a change. Of course, Donald Trump is also electing to, pun, is also electing to initiate that change. But the change has already been happening, a shift in power, a shift in resources. The old way is gone, and remnants of that old way will have to adjust, will have to make way for the next, do I call it the next generation, the next rule, the next mode of operation, the evolution. So I could also say too that the whole notion of the white farmers, or just the white genocide that's being put on here, the term of it, it's something that's run its course, at least land ownership or material resource owning. And their heyday in hierarchy has run its course. And it's time for a new start. You know, the power plays that existed before don't exist right now. Naturally, there's an ending. And what we have here is resistance towards that ending. It does feel like in this energy there are better ways to go and term it than, as Trump is calling it, white genocide. It really calls for a full 360 evaluation of where the history of the land is and how that land should be best used, how the resources should be best used, and is it being used for the good of all who are in that area? I think that's the issue that's happening here, and that's the issue that's being overlooked. You can't be greedy at the table with a full meal set out for only one person. It's too much for one person, too much for one group. It needs to be shared equally. That's the energy that I have here. And that's primarily why, do I call it race baiting? We're saying white genocide. It's not about that. It's about the fact that there is all this wealth in the hands of few, and that the energy, the time for that monopoly is over. And people are struggling. The ones that have the wealth are struggling against that fact, that realization. But that's what we have here. What I can just say right now is that for the issue of what they're talking about, too much wealth in the hands of too few people, and they're not sharing it they're not using it, not sharing it for the benefit of all. And naturally, that phase of being able to benefit a few is over. Now it's all about, do I say I'm not saying the word right. Redistribution for the community. The land belongs to the community. Energetically, the resources are returning to the community. And there's a power play, there's conflict because those who have lots are holding on to it. That's the energy I have here. And that's also the question that needs to be considered. So I'm going to go and I think end this message for right now. We did take a closer look. And these are the energies that I have here. I am wishing health and safety. I am wishing also too peace, prosperity, and stability for all in this reading. When you have so much wealth, so much resources against those that don't, it's not good energy. That's all I can say too. And probably also too, this is interesting in this energy because this isn't regional, like regionally Pacific energy, the whole notion of how things have been carried out and how the standard mode of business is, how sustainable is it? And not just talking about South Africa, but globally. How really are those resources best used for the people and the communities that are in it? Guess I will look at the comments. Well, hello everybody. I'm glad you like the cards, Kinga. There are cards that I've done many, many readings with. They're actually my second deck of the same the same group of cards too. When I get my third, I'm going to get the same exact deck. This is my favorite deck. Anyway, thank you so much for the likes. And if you appreciate my time in doing this video, do give me a thumbs up. Check out also too the other content that's on the channel. A wide range of things are explored here. Till the next reading, everybody. Bye-bye.